I have quite a few comics and graphic novels to discuss, so I'm not going to say too much about each one. I'm just going to give a star rating and tell you a few brief thoughts on each thing. If you want more info on a particular graphic novel or comic, feel free to leave a comment and then I can expand on that particular subject. Otherwise, I'm just going to give a few brief thoughts and move on. The first series I want to talk about is Black Science, which is an Image comic series, and I think it's probably their third or fourth most popular series. I just made that up, but it sounds accurate, so I'm going to stick with that. This is about a group of scientists who are able to travel between different dimensions. It's kind of the parallel dimension thing that seems so popular in TV shows and games and books today. Rick Remender, who's the writer of this series, is also the writer of Low, which is that new Image series that everyone's talking about and which I love. I'm really not surprised that I'm enjoying the series because that guy just has a terrific mind. Parallel dimensions work fantastic for this series because as the scientists travel from one world to another, each volume is so different from the last one. It has an entirely different feel. There's different plants and animals that they encounter, different enemies. I know that one reason people don't enjoy comics is because they find them confusing, and this is definitely going to be one of those series for people because we flash between things that already happened, things that are happening in different versions of the world to different characters, but different versions of the same character, if that even makes sense. So if you're one of those people who are easily confused by the visual medium, I would avoid this series because it's going to be very confusing to you. But other than that, 5 out of 5 stars, it's incredible, and I recommend this to everyone. Next, I have Low Volume 1, which is also written by Rick Remender, and I have nothing bad to say about the series besides a few things which you can hear about in my full review, which I did for Volume 1. I will link that somewhere for you to go look at. This series is set in the super far future when the sun has started to die and there's radiation hitting the Earth, and people have been forced to move underwater. So they live in underwater cities, they've lived there for thousands of years, and people have gone entirely insane. There are some characters trying to leave the ocean and find a different inhabitable planet. There are some characters who are trying to stay there and control everybody, so there are a lot of conflicting motives, which makes for a fantastic, dramatic series, and I love it a lot. Next on my list is a series called The Woods, and this is Volume 1, The Arrow, and I've heard a lot about this on BookTube. I probably am really late to this party. This is about a group of high school students and teachers whose school is transported to a different planet, and they encounter a variety of weird creatures and mysteries. People die, people get hurt, there's gross stuff that goes on. It's just a really weird series that, honestly, I was not that into. I wasn't really blown away by the first volume. I felt like it spent a lot of time establishing the characters and the plot and the environment. Not that it's a bad series, but I feel like with so many other fantastic series out there that I need to catch up on, I probably will wait to catch up on this one until everything else is totally complete. So it's probably going to be a while. The next thing I read is Super Mutant Magic Academy by Jillian Tamaki, who's the same person who created This One Summer, the graphic novel. The premise of the series is that there is a school similar to Hogwarts where students who are magically gifted, they have different superpowers, they look like cats, they're just kind of different creatures. They go to study all together, but obviously they bring their problems with them. This series is done almost entirely in black and white, which I really didn't think I'd be a huge fan of, but honestly the content is just fantastic. I love all of the topics that the comics talk about. They're funny, they're biting. I'm glad I bought this because I think it has a high reread value since webcomics are very quick-paced, so I'm probably going to forget about a lot of the content in this book, and in half a year maybe I'll give it another go and I'll reread everything, and I think I'll like it just as much as I did when I first read it, so 5 out of 5 stars, do recommend to everyone. Next is a story called I Kill Giants, which is about a girl who has difficulty coping with certain things that have happened to her family, and so she's developed these really intense fantasies about giants and how she is a giant slayer and she has to protect everyone around her. She's sassy, but not really in a good way. She's physically violent and she has trouble connecting with people her own age, so she's understandably an outcast. I loved the artwork in this, I loved the story, and even the characters, some of which are pretty unlikable people, I ended up really enjoying, and it's one of the only graphic novels to date that's actually made me cry, so it wins major awards for that, and I loved this, so 5 out of 5 stars. Next we have Chew. This is the deluxe omnivore edition, which I believe contains volumes 1 and 2 in the trade paperback. I would describe this series as That's So Raven with cannibalism. This is one of the more outlandish comic series that I've read recently, which is really saying something, and it also has a cartoon quality to the illustrations, which I haven't seen in a lot of recent things that I've read, so I liked both of those things about it, and I really felt like it helped it to stand apart from other series. Some pages make you want to throw up, but then you turn the page and you just laugh it off, so there's a really good give and take that the series uses, and I found it to be just really good. I think I have a long ways to go before I'm fully caught up, but I'm really enjoying the direction of the story so far, and I would give it, at this point, 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. And finally, I'm sure you knew that I couldn't film a graphic novel video without talking about my favorite series, Fables, so we're going to talk about Fables. I have no idea where I am in terms of the storyline. I've read the deluxe editions 1, 2, and 3, and then 9, so clearly I've skipped some things, and I do plan on collecting the deluxe editions in between there. I just wanted to get a few of them on my shelf so they can look pretty together. For me, this is one of those series that just gets a lot better the further you get into it, because you just get a better sense of the characters, and you get more detail, and it gets a lot darker, which is a really important quality in comics that I enjoy. They have to be dark, and they have to be gory, and that's not something that happens here until the later volumes. It's a huge commitment in terms of reading, and definitely in terms of buying. I think there are 11 hardback deluxe editions, which are... they're going to be a lot of money when all is said and done, so I'm trying to space out those purchases over the next year so I don't make myself go poor in a single month. If you like fairy tales, you'll like this. The end of story. Those are all the comics and graphic novels that I have read recently. If you guys have read any of these series yourselves, feel free to tell me what you thought of them in the comment section below. And if you have any recommendations on series that I should be reading based on what I've liked in this video, feel free to leave a comment below on that as well. I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye!